Welcome to Greensboro Viewmaster Crowdsourced TV, where we focus on the inner life of Greensboro. Sponsored by Crescent Productions, your pro resource for multi-camera live stream events. And by Artisan Advertising and Video, your a la carte advertising agency and video production house. Also sponsored by Film Machine, Highway 29 Motion Pictures, Fellow Travelers, Trep TV, and First Light Films.
Welcome back to Greensboro Livestream. I'm here with Josh Sherrick, Arts and Events Superintendent with the City of Greensboro.
It's a fancy title, fancy government title, Les.
Yeah, and you dressed for it today too.
Yeah.
Well, I met Josh actually several years ago now because he helped me get some permits to do some film shooting in downtown Greensboro, or somewhere in Greensboro, I forget. But so we became acquainted then, and now your office is, I want you to tell us what you're doing. Your office is in the Cultural Arts Center, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in Parks and Recreation, we have a section called the Arts and Events section. So it's located at the bottom floor of the Greensboro Cultural Center, which is at 200 North Davie Street, right across from Center City Park and next to LeBauer Park. We're really fortunate they opened up a $10 million park directly next door to our building. So the Greensboro Cultural Center is one of our facilities in Parks and Recreation, and there we host 18 different arts and culture organizations, nonprofits. We have our specific area, which is, or another one of our Parks and Rec areas is City Arts, which has the Music Center, we have the Drama Center, and then we have strategic partnerships with Art Alliance, which does pottery and visual arts, and the Dance Project. So those are just our in-house programs that are managed out of the Cultural Center, and then we have about 18 other arts organizations that we host, that they're considered our tenants, and then we have like the Van Dyke Performance Space, which just got built.
You showed me that the other day.
Yep, very fancy, 315 seat, state-of-the-art dance floor, a really nice new performance space. It's really still getting its feet wet. We've had probably 4 or 5 events in there. We've had a concert. We hosted TEDx last year,
right? Which
was really cool. I mean,
that's a good event for that space.
Oh, it's perfect, and the live streaming just like this, live streaming and everything was just technologically very sound for the space. So yeah, it worked out. So it's nice. Yeah, we're housed out of the Greensboro Cultural Center, and we're trying really to, kind of boost up the notoriety and the publicity of the space, and make sure people know that it's a space paid for by the community, meant for the community.
Right, and when I think of it in sort of in 2 ways. I think of it as a facility where I can go and see stuff. I can go to different galleries.
Yep.
And then I think of it as the home of these various arts organizations. And we were talking earlier about how the Cultural Arts Center really is in many ways sort of an on-ramp to the arts for people, or it can be.
Yeah, it's really powerful. If you're in there in the afternoon, you see a steady stream of children, of adults. I mean, we have multiple dance classes. I mean, people are learning how to dance. They're learning how to do ballet. We have 4 or 5 ballet studios on the top floor. We have 3 or 4 dance studios. You see these families and these people coming in to learn how to, just from the very beginning, learn how to dance. And then you have professional dance groups that operate out of there. Same thing with music. You have kids that are learning how to play instruments, and you have refined, professional musicians that play around town and play in all of our orchestras and all of our symphonies that are there. So it really is like a ramping, you're right, a ramp up to the culture and the artistic, influx that we need. I always talk a lot about like the creative culture in our city. And it's a true marker of like a progressive city, is to foster and to care for the arts and the cultivation of that. And then the Cultural Center is just a hub for all that. And we try to really frame that all the time when we're thinking of the different programs that we're offering and what's going on. The Cultural Center is the start of all that.
So do you think the arts in Greensboro are healthy?
Oh, I 100%, yeah. I mean, I feel like historically we've had some really strong pillars of art in the community, right? We have the theaters, we have Triad Stage with Carolina Theater. Those are very strong in their own right. I think where we really try to work now is at finding the different demographics and the different kind of pockets to kind of influence from. We work a lot with multicultural, we're a very multiculturally diverse city, right? So we try to always say, hey, what are we doing for populations that don't have access to pay, high rent, high attendance fees for classes and whatnot. We also operate a little space out off of Florida Street called the Call Clue Multicultural Center, and there we host all free events for the population that either people that live closer there or that are around what used to be a rec center is now a multicultural center. So I think that the arts are very healthy in our city, and I think that we continue to see signs of that. We see major cultural events like the Folk Festival come along that are a celebration of traditional arts from around the world. I mean, it's celebrated here locally because it's a reflection of what diverse population we have here. So I think it's very healthy.
Yeah. You think that after the National Folk Festival this year that we'll continue it, or?
Oh yeah. So our intentions are to continue the National Folk Festival as the North Carolina Folk Festival, and historically, the national, where it has been in other cities, it has continued on and become a very much stronger festival as it grows.
Right.
So, for example, in Richmond, which is a very similar size city to what we have, they had their national festival, I believe, maybe 12 years ago. And to this day, they have grown to over 250,000 people for their festival. So It's really kind of a model where the national comes in, they kind of help seed it and understand, give you the model of how it's going to work, and then the city just takes it over from there. And this city's been embraced it incredibly. I mean, from year one, we worked for almost 2 years planning that festival, and I remember the first day standing there, and I was standing there with a friend of mine, Reggie, works in the city, and we kind of started this whole bubble of the folk festival, and we sat there and we said, what if nobody shows up? and luckily a lot of people did.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, 100,000 people did. So we're looking really good.
What are the dates? Do you know the dates off the top of your head?
Yeah, the Folk Festival is approaching. It's September the 8th, 9th, and 10th. And it will be primarily held, it stretches basically from like the VF up on North Elm Street all the way down here to the depot right behind us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's a very long site. There's over 8 stages.
Now, LeBauer is going to be used, I guess, heavily this year.
Much more heavily, yeah. LeBauer Park, it's right in the center. Davie Street almost becomes the actual main drag of this. We have
it does.
We have, LeBauer Park is used, and it's really unique for the city too, because we're able to really flex some of our assets. So the Historical Museum has a major part in the festival. LeBauer Park, Center City Park, right in the heart of it. The Cultural Center, right in the heart of it. We host. The Cultural Center actually becomes one of the coolest spaces because it's air conditioned, and last year the festival was really hot. It was like 92 degrees last year the whole time. But so we have a baby station, if you will, in the Cultural Center where mothers can come in and they can, we call it a lactation station, which that was something I'd never seen done before, and we did that last year. So the folk festival.
So that had to be a real powwow of moms in there.
It was powerful, yeah. It was 2 rooms. We actually had to have 2 rooms for them, yeah. And it was really received well. Like the moms groups that are around the city really loved it, and they embraced it, and it was awesome, and that made it really cool.
That's important too when it's so hot out.
Oh yeah, and it's a free festival, but it's all outdoors, and you need to be able to provide places of refuge for people to kind of cool off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to maybe wrap up with one question, and I think you've mentioned this to me. There's something going on now with LeBauer, the Cultural Center, the new Performing Arts Center, the Historical Museum. There's like a concentration of culture and the arts in the center of the city, really.
Yeah, a long time ago, probably about 10 or 15, maybe 20 years ago now, they created a sort of ad hoc cultural district up in that area. And we're trying to really kind of breathe a little bit of energy into the thought of that. We haven't really fleshed it out, and we want to make sure that all of our partners and our constituents are all on board with what exactly we're doing, but we're really trying to brand that area around the Cultural Center as the cultural district for Greensboro. If you sit down and look at the map, it's only really about a 4-block four-block circle, but in that you have the Greensboro Children's Museum, the Central Library, the Historical Museum, and there's a Veterans Monument and Memorial across the street from that. We have the new Performing Arts Center that's coming on board a couple years from now. We have LeBauer Park, Center City Park, and the Cultural Center. So, I mean, when you look at all those assets, it's really powerful, and it can certainly be branded and helped by calling it a cultural district. And by no means do we want to exclude any of our other cultural assets in the community, but a lot of them already find themselves residing in like either the South Elm district or where we're at in the kind of the restaurant and theater district. it only makes sense to sort of brand it as the cultural district.
Well, absolutely, and it's nice for the city to feel like it has a central place where all these things are possible and where there's that exposure to the arts.
Yeah.
Whether it's watching a movie on a Friday night at LeBauer or hearing music there or over at Center City or going into the cultural center and experiencing it yourself, taking a class or seeing it, or going to the galleries. It's just nice to know that there's that concentration of things that have been thought out for the city,
Exactly.
for its citizens.
Yeah.
They can come and be a city, because if you think about what makes us a city, I'll tell you my experience of city. It's two things. It's going to be weird to you, but one of them, and because we've talked a lot about the cultural diversity of Greensboro.
Oh yeah.
One of them is going to Walmart on Cone Boulevard, because that Walmart is it's just the biggest cultural ethnic mix of probably any Walmart or any other place in the city of Greensboro on a given day.
Yeah.
And I shop there sometimes, but I'll just enjoy watching people and just seeing the diversity there.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the fact that as diverse as we are, we can come together like at the film screenings that have been done during the summer, or the Music in the Park, MUSEP.
Oh yeah.
When you go out there, you really begin to get a sense of the city coming together around the arts and as a city. I mean, what other? Okay, you have Fun Fourth. You have the Christmas parade.
We have Festival of Lights and the Christmas parade.
Festival of
we have
Lights.
the MLK Day parade.
Right.
That's in January. Fun Fourth and the festivals around that. I mean, you make a good point. Something we always try to promote is accessibility, and not only like persons with disabilities accessibility. That's very important. But what I mean by accessibility is we try to lower the barriers for all of these events. So when somebody comes to me and they say, look, we really want to host this type of an event here, as a city, as a government, I feel like it's our job to sort of lower the barriers of entry.
Right.
People think of government and they think of the pieces, and they're really sometimes taken aback by that. But in our case, we try to lower the barriers and make sure that people know that we're producing a lot of events and that people can come in from all different areas, and we're going to have diverse events that are fair and they're really fun for the entire community.
Right, and a lot of things are free.
That's the key. Yeah,
Which
a lot
helps.
of things are free. Yeah, the folk festival.
There's a very low barrier to enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the key. You got to get them in here, and we've been doing really unique programs. We do this. We're for the folk festival with GTA, the bus system. We make it entirely, completely free for the entire system. It's called a fare free weekend.
And
no matter where you live in the city, you can get on a bus and get downtown and enjoy a free festival. You don't have to have a dollar, and you can come and be enriched in your community. And not a lot of communities can say that, so we really try to wear that hat. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that too.
Yeah, most definitely.
I had no idea that the city did that.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll wrap up now. I want to thank you. I know you have a really strong vision for what's going on at the Cultural Center. I just know that about you, and things are looking spiffy over there.
Well, we're trying. We've had a lot of upgrades.
It's a new day, I think. You're going to see some exciting things going on there, and it's largely because of him and his leadership. Josh Sherrick, Arts and Events Superintendent for the City of Greensboro. Thanks a lot for being with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.